start mechanical design, assembly design. I'll go for this is the assembly environment we have. Going for properties. I'll go for giving the name. We had seen the press tool assembly. What I'll do, I'll be creating that press tool assembly using our second approach, the top down, so that it would give us the better clarity, because we had already seen this the same, so it would give us a clear idea about it. So here you have the press tool assembly, and what I'll be doing, I'll start creating the first part. Definitely we don't have any already created parts available. What we have is just the environment, and in that environment only we will be creating the parts at their respective working positions only. So let's get started with this. I'll be going for this option, the part create part option. Selecting this, on the command bar I can see select a component to insert the new part. Means where exactly you want this part to be inserted. I'll say in the press tool. Select it. So there would be a part available, and you can see it has the complete tree available, just like we used to see the same tree in the bottom up approach when we used to insert the part. It has its own part name available, planes, part body. Okay, I'll be going for properties, and I'll be changing just the name. So the first part was bottom plate. I'll be giving this name for the unique identification. Done. So bottom plate is the name given to the specific part. As soon as you have inserted the part, we have the access system available. The planes are available especially for this particular part. Now, how we can create? We are still in the assembly environment. How we can create the parts? So for creation of the parts, we simply have to double click on this. When we were working with the components or sub-assemblies, what we used to do to activate component or to activate the sub-assembly, we used to double click on that. Similarly, what I have to do is I have to work for this particular part. So what I'll be doing, I'll be double clicking on that. As soon as I'll double click on this, it will take me to the part design environment. Now you are very much familiar with this particular environment. You can start your procedure of creating the parts. So I'll be going for position sketch, selecting the plane, say OK, then creating the sketch, making that sketch as fully constrained as per the given dimensions. It would definitely go into the part body of first part, which is bottom plate. Give the dimensions, apply next feature. Again, I am going for hole. I would prefer the method which I had followed earlier. 30 say up to next, diameter is 25. Okay, so this much is done. Select this hole, go for rectangular pattern. First reference this one, length will be 190. Second direction this one, number of entities 2, at a distance of 90, reverse direction. Okay, everything is same as what we had done earlier as well. Then there would be a hole at the extreme center of this. (50) dia up to next. Okay, I'm done creating the part number 1. I have created the part number 1. Once I'm done doing that, I'll directly double click on the assembly to activate the assembly. I'm in the assembly environment. Now, if you want, like I told you earlier, some of the industries prefer to apply the constraints, some does not prefer. If you will check the degree of freedom, definitely it would show you 6 degree of freedom. So if you want to apply the constraints, go for fix, done. It is fully constrained, all degree of freedom are restricted. Then creating the next part, so go for part in the press tool. Yes, this is the most important window you have. Read each and every word of this. Do you want to define a new origin point for the new part? Means you want a new origin for the next part? Click yes to define the origin point of a component or a point as a new part origin. If you want to define the new origin, then click yes. So there would be a separate origin for the next part which you are going to create. Click no to define the origin point of the assembly as the new part origin point. If you will press no, then what will happen? It will consider the origin of assembly as the origin of your next part, which is also the origin of your first part. So if you want the origin of all the parts to be same as the origin of assembly, then press no. And if you want origin for each and every part to be different, then click yes. Normally when we work with the top down approach, we prefer to keep a single origin for the complete assembly. There would be a single origin for the complete assembly, and that origin will be the origin of each and every part as well as the origin of assembly. So I will press no over here. As soon as I'll press no, there would be access system, the planes defined as the at the same location as it was there for the first part, and that is actually the origin of your assembly as well. So this is your part 2. Go for the properties. In the properties, I'll be defining the names guide pillar, okay. Double click on this to activate. Now you will be working in guide pillar. So in the guide pillar, if I want to work, I'll go for a sketch. We'll be selecting this plane, okay. And instead of creating the sketches, now I have the reference available. Why would I create the sketch? I would prefer to go with this case, project this curve. Definitely it is a fully constrained case. Exit. I have the curve available. To this curve I will apply pad like this. I have got the result. This is my guide pillar. Activate the assembly. Then select this guide pillar. Go for reuse pattern with generated constraints on this. Have a look at this. There is no constraints between the part of pattern. I have not applied any constraint. Okay, then let's apply this first. Going for constraint, this one with the whole, this one, then this face with this face. Coincidence has been applied. Next I can go for the plane. So what I can do is angle constraint between this plane and this face, making it parallel. Say okay, done. All 6 degrees of freedom has been restricted. Okay, now let's try the pattern. Reuse pattern, generated constraints on this. Okay, see, I have got the result, but there is a problem. The problem is now all these parts have a separate origin available. All these parts have separate origin available. Okay, no issue, I can bear with this. No such issue is there. But remember, I had made one dependency. What dependency I had made is I had given the projection over here. The diameter of hole has been projected as the diameter of guide pillar. Let's check this. So how to check? I'll simply go into the bottom plate feature tree and change the diameter of hole. Double click, you will be in a position to change the diameter of hole. Let's make it 40. Okay, so you can see the diameter of hole has been updated, but after updating as well, I am actually unable to get the result of guide pillar diameter being updated. I had used the projection, still I am unable to get the result. I had used the projection of the diameter, still the guide pillar is not getting updated. This is the problem. So there is a reason behind this. You will need to define this first. You will need to define this into your settings that I want to keep the link with that object. When you will define that, then and only then you will be able to maintain that dependency in these types of specific cases. So what I'll be doing, first I'll be deleting these. Done. This also I'll be deleting. Still runs as well. No, I don't want to keep it. Now I'll be going for defining this thing into the settings. So tools, options. Here I'll be able to see the settings which I have to define. So tools, options. Over here in the infrastructure, after that part infrastructure, in the general, this is the option we have, keep link with selected object. I'll need to turn this on and say OK. Done. Now create part. In the press tool, keep as no. Define the name as for your own convenience. Say guide pillar. Okay. The guide pillar is already exist in the session. You cannot use the same name. It will create difficulty. But okay, we have said okay, so it will not activate the guide pillar. Go for sketch on this plane. Say okay. This time, since there is no such difficulty in projecting all four circles, if I'll project all four circles, that also will be okay for me. So I can go for projecting all four circles, or if I want, I can project one of them, no issue. Exit pad of the value whatever you want to give. Activate the press tool. Apply the constraints. This with this whole loop design geometry and constraint. Okay, sorry. Now you can see it is not even allowing me to apply the constraints. Why? Because I am able to maintain the dependency. Let's check. Make the changes in the hole diameter. Make it 25. Okay. Press tool, double click. Update. It has been updated. So remember that setting you have to define. Tools, options, infrastructure, part infrastructure, general. In that, keep link with selected object. Turn that setting on, and after that you can start working with your specific part. So this is how I have created the part number 2. I can go for reuse pattern in this manner. Okay, as of now I have not applied any constraints, but yes, I'll be able to get the result. Then creating the third part, but again there would be a problem. Reuse pattern will not be applicable multiple times. So we had used another option. The option was to create the sub-assembly. So let's check how we can create that. For creating sub-assembly, I'll be going for this option, product. Click it. In this is the sub-assembly being defined. Now create part in the sub-assembly. Again it will ask you for the origin thing. I'll say okay, means no. Define the part, activate this, sketch on the plane. Now I am working under the sub-assembly. Say this, okay, pad, activate the main assembly. So this is one of the part you had defined under sub-assembly. In that manner we can actually work. No, it will not accept. Okay, no issue. Then I'll be defining another part under sub-assembly. So create part in the sub-assembly. Again I don't want to define the origin. Then activating part number 3. Again it would take me to the part design environment. I'll be taking a plane parallel to this downward, say 10 mm. Sketch on this plane. Now definitely I would like to maintain the dependencies. I will do that like this. To the same origin I'll be creating say 40 dia, a concentric case. So that's it. The sketch is ready. Go for pad downward, say 60, or I'll say 40 would look good. Yeah, like this. Part 3 is ready. Activate it. Assembly, product, go for reuse pattern in this manner. Okay, you have got the result, and further you can continue with this. This is your creation of part as well as creation of sub assemblies in the top down approach. We are able to create the part, we are able to create the sub assemblies using top down approach of assembly in CATIA V5. I hope you are clear with this thing. Then next we can have the component. So I'll be deleting this. No, I don't want to keep it. Yeah, when I want to define the component exactly in the same manner, component in the press tool, this is available. Create part 1, create part, sorry, so this is the part we have. I'll go for create part in this. Likewise I can define a number of parts inside the component, and I can continue with the component creation. Remember, component and subassembly has a major difference. Also, when I was deleting the specific part or the subassembly, let's say I'm deleting this, it is showing me this warning window. cut or delete operation removed unsaved document from the editor. These documents will be removed for memory without further warning when the undo command will no longer be available for the operation. So if you are deleting this particular thing, the undo itself will not give you the result. One thing. Second thing, after this there would be no such warning given to you for this specific part, and it would be completely deleted from the memory because this particular thing is unsaved. So do you want to edit following modification document? Simply means you are deleting this particular one. Do you want this thing to be saved separately? If you want, then say yes. If you don't want, then say no or cancel it. So whatever part, whatever sub-assembly you have created in the top-down approach of assembly in CATIA V5, if we are deleting that, then first it will ask you whether you want that thing to be saved before deleting. If you want, you will say yes. So that would open as a separate part for you, and then finally you can save it wherever you want to save it. Say desktop, I'll be in a position to save it separately like this. So this is the advantage we have, that we can save the parts separately if we are deleting that. it, it means, say by mistake I am deleting something, so this is not the case that I will completely lost it, I'll need to create it again. No, what I can do is I can separately save it, use it as a part of bottom up approach later on.